because they think they're a business owner and they've got to make content, they're trying to be like too formal about it. Especially for TikTok and stuff, it doesn't necessarily work. And then vice versa as well, like trying to maybe be too informal about certain things just because you've got a brand that's fun and, you know, exciting and whatever. Maybe being too informal and it's a bit like, is this even a brand? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to fall into that pitfall too. What's up, guys? Rich here. Thanks for tuning in to the TwoSix10 Podcast, where me and the boys talk about how you can use content the right way to grow and scale your business. If you find this episode useful, then please share with a fellow entrepreneur, marketer, founder, or anyone else who might also get some value from it, and let's all grow together. With that said, let's jump straight into it.
So Rich, what are the key components of brand, voice and tone, and how can a business go about crafting one that resonates with its audience?
I think perfect there. Like, you readied it off by saying resonates with its audience, and I think that's the most important factor here. I think, again, you as a business are going to have an avatar, and so when you go to make content, you should be aiming your content at that avatar, because again, there's no point in making loads of content that's going to, you know, get loads of views and appeal to another audience. It's not going to be necessarily wanting to buy from you. So your tone of voice has to reflect that of your avatar. So for example, if you're targeting if you're a business that maybe sells your services, say like an accounting firm, let's just say, right, as an example, you might be targeting like 30-year-olds and up, right, that have like other businesses and stuff like that. Like you need to have your tone of voice and your branding should be very I guess mature and very serious and very, whereas on the opposite of this, say you're maybe making like candy that appeals to like teenagers, say for example, that are like, you know, it's really colorful and it's really fun and like whatever the case is, then again your tone of voice sort of has to portray that too. So like when you're thinking about your content ideas, it's going to be very different in terms of like how you're actually delivering that. Like you might get the content idea and then you're like, okay, in this one I'm going to, because you might be the owner of those two businesses, right? But like you can't deliver those bits of content in the same way, i.e. going to ChatGPT. Give me some ideas about creating content on for an accounting company, and then give me some ideas for creating content about my candy company. It's going to give you ideas, but then you can't use that same tone of voice and like, you know, have that fun element attached to the, I mean, you can, but like it's not going to resonate as much. So I think that's like really important there, and it's something to consider, like just like messaging and triggering emotion, the language that you use, the tone of, like the way you deliver the information, the pitch even of the talking. You know, if you're an accounting firm, you could talk like this, whereas you're the candy brand, you're going to be like giving it way more energy, you know. So yeah, these are things to consider. And then, you know, there's all sorts of other things like being authentic and stuff like that. But what about?
I think the emotion one is, I was going to say, I think the emotion one would be one that I say. I always think that emotion is one of like the key things. Like you said, like for example, if you're a sports brand, you're most likely going to be energetic, upbeat, whereas like a low key one, a bit more. Is you just got to notice like that difference, and then I guess it also comes down obviously to target audience. Like that's one of the big ones, I guess. Obviously, you're a sports brand, you're targeting sporty kind of people. You're gonna have to be upbeat and positive because that's how they are. If you do a video that's all like this and it's very like negative or gloomy, you've lost so many people by doing that.
Facts,
So I think you just got to consider all the factors behind your target audience, really. And these things can be like age, gender, interests, or values. But emotion is one that I think is like an important point to this.
For sure. What are some like common mistakes then do you see the businesses make when trying to do this?
I think so like this one you agree with, because we've spoke about this before, is just like focusing too much on promotion. And it's a common mistake that many businesses and brands do. I think like it's important to get your product out there. it's important to do that. Obviously, you're a business, a brand, you're trying to make sales. But yeah, I just think that a lot of businesses and brands go the wrong way about it. Like creating content that's just constant advertising. Like, are you really going to get people watching you? Like, if you're putting content out there? I don't think so. I don't know about like what your view is on that. I know that you have like a similar kind of thought on it about businesses or brands focusing too much on promotion. So yeah, I don't know what your full understanding or opinion is on that. I feel like we could have like very different opinions to this as well. I know we agree on some extent to it.
Yeah, again, it depends where the business is. I think though, like what we mainly talk about is because what we do, right, is organic content. And so my point here is like, yeah, if you know, you're not really, if your priority is making sales, then focus on promotional content. But like if you're making organic content, you know, you shouldn't really be, not, in fact, yeah, again, we spoke about it, like very small percentage of your actual post should be promotional stuff. Should be more like other engaging type posts. But yeah, I see that as a problem as well. But I think the biggest thing we see too is like not having the right person to like communicate that message. I think is key. Like, you know, and that's where a lot of brands struggle because, you know, not to name any names here, but like I recently got off a call with a prospect, and there was a guy, and he had can I say this? Like let's just say a sporting good, but he's not involved in that sport, right? And he was looking for someone to obviously make the content for that sporting good. But this is my point. I think a lot of businesses, just because they have that business doesn't necessarily mean they have or know anything about that business. Like a guy might have a gym, or a woman might have a gym, and they've never been to the gym in their life. They just have that as like real estate. It's just like a thing they have going. So I think that's like a huge challenge. Or someone might own, you know, a chain of barber shops, but they don't know how to cut hair. Or, you know, there's loads of examples like this. So I think it's difficult then for that person to be like, okay, we need to create content, but I don't really know what I'm doing, or I don't understand the tone of voice that's needed here. So I think understanding is the biggest problem I see. And like, yeah, just trying to be either, because they think they're a business owner and they've got to make content, they're trying to be like too formal about it. Especially for TikTok and stuff, it doesn't necessarily work. And then vice versa as well, like trying to maybe be too informal about certain things just because you've got a brand that's fun and, you know, exciting and whatever. Maybe being too informal and it's about like, is this even a brand? Do you know what I mean? Like it's very easy to fall into that pitfall too. So yeah, I think aiming for a tone that's like friendly, approachable, but still professional is super important. And that's like an easy fix. And if you don't know what you're doing, i.e. you've got a business, like we just spoke about in the last podcast, that, you know, you have a product and it's an electric whisk. If you don't know anything about that, you've just simply got it because you felt like there was a gap in the market and you're just a really, really shrewd business person and you've seen it as an opportunity and you know someone that was able to make it and bang, all of a sudden, you know, but you don't really know anything about cooking or whatever, like maybe get someone in that is really good at all that sort of thing. And then you can get them to just take control of your whole business and brand and highlight the sort of like the positives of what the brand actually, or what the whisk actually does, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I agreed a lot with like the formal and informal way of things. I always think that has an impact on content, especially being a brand or business makes you approachable or unapproachable. Another thing that I wanted to add is not analysing performances. I feel like a lot of businesses and brands can easily fall into this trap of not following if a video, for example, is doing well. I feel like it could lead to a lot of wasted effort and resources. So yeah, it goes back to what we spoke about before in another episode, is like tracking metrics, which we spoke about, including engagement, conversions, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think like it's important to analyze your performance on content.
Sure. And how can like or should brands tone of voice, like talking about tone of voice and stuff? Do you think how can they adapt, or should it even adapt? Should it change over time? Or like, what's your thoughts on it?
I think you have to evolve a lot of the time. I find like some businesses and brands, like they'll see trends, for example, and then they won't agree with it. Like I think we mentioned this earlier or in another episode about how like a lot of people can turn their nose up at trends.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, sometimes this works really well. As much as you hate to admit it, it works well. And I feel like sometimes you have to adapt to it. And I feel like if you there was like a saying, I can't remember where the saying comes. You're normally good at all these sayings, but do you know what? I think it was from like watching WWE back in the day. Evolve.
Can you smell what the Rock is cooking though?
It was something along evolve or something about like falling off, kind of like that. I'd like to find that and bring it up to another episode. But yeah, you need to evolve. So I definitely think you need to evolve and then adapt to new trends to go back to evolve. I keep saying the word evolve. Take over. Before I keep saying it.
What did you say? I missed that, but you lagged a little.
Just take over from me before I keep saying evolve too much.
You said it again.
But basically, you need to evolve.
I did hear you. I just wanted to hear you say it again.